Welcome back everyone to another second stimulus package and second stimulus check update for today, Sunday, October 4th. In this video, we have to cover the recent push from Trump, yes, even as he is at the hospital undergoing the virus treatment, and then we also have to cover Pelosi's answer to Trump's recent push. And as always, if you are enjoying these updates and all of my videos that I'm able to push out for you guys every single solitary day now, give the video a big thumbs up, smash the like button, just help with that YouTube algorithm. It does support me and my channel, so I do appreciate when you do that. Totally free to do so. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button. Thank you very much. You can do that for me. So first, let's look at some recent data that has come out. So 2.4 million, that is the number of how many people have been unemployed for at least 27 weeks now. And this is beyond the expiration of traditional state unemployment benefits. And according to Labor Department data released Friday, another 4.9 million people are headed for that threshold, the government's definition of long-term joblessness, over the next 9 weeks. And just to quickly recap over all the proposals that we have seen so far, we had the $3.4 trillion HEROES Act that was passed back in May. Then that bill was ignored by Senate Republicans, who put out their own $1 trillion plan in July. And that plan never came up for a vote. And then we had a subsequent Republican offering, which included only $300 billion in new spending. That never made it past the Senate. Then after the Democratic-controlled House released and eventually passed a revised version of the HEROES Act worth $2.2 trillion last week, Mnuchin presented Pelosi with a $1.6 trillion counter-offer, which we've covered in the last few videos, from the White House, which included another round of $1,200 stimulus checks, $75 billion in funding for virus testing and tracing, $250 billion in state and local aid, about half of what Democrats want, and $400 in weekly federal unemployment benefits. Democrats, as we know, want $600 through the end of the year. So from Walter Reed Hospital, where Trump is being treated for his diagnosis, Trump went ahead and tweeted, "Our great USA wants and needs stimulus. Work together and get it done. Thank you." That was October 3rd in the afternoon. And according to the Washington Post, White House officials are actually optimistic at minimum that the outline of a deal could be reached by the middle of this week. There's no doubt that the clock is ticking for policymakers to come to an agreement. This is despite Trump's recent push for lawmakers to reach an agreement, and now we have exactly 30 days until the election. So despite the renewed public pressure from the president, even from his own hospital bed, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi still told CBS's Face the Nation that negotiators in Washington had still not reached a deal on the next round of federal coronavirus aid. Pelosi had said that Republicans will see this, quote, as a vicious virus now. And then she was also asked if the tweet from the president meant that a stimulus deal had been struck. Pelosi responded, quote, "No, it means that we want to see that they can agree on what we need to do to crush the virus." As we covered in recent updates, Pelosi had said that the Trump diagnosis can, quote, change the dynamic and will also force Republicans to now open their eyes to the virus and realize that this can impact anyone regardless of their politics or beliefs. But Trump has still been rather absent, regardless of his hospitalization, from the negotiations with the Democrats. He's been mostly having Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows express the administration's interest and do the negotiating. But rather recently, Trump did surprise his party and America by calling on Republicans to go for the larger numbers in vocal support for a larger spending plan for the next bill. This is coming on the heels of an unexpectedly weak jobs report for September, and we're also now seeing tens of thousands of brand new announced layoffs and furloughs from the airline industry and companies like Disney. Pelosi wrote to her caucus this past Friday that she hoped the sides could strike a deal despite, quote, significant disagreement in key areas, and she added that, quote, we continue to work on the text to move quickly to facilitate an agreement. Now, when it comes to talking points that both sides are in agreement with, well, those are going to be direct payments to Americans, both parties, and the president. Everyone agrees, they are in agreement that more payments should be sent out to Americans. And then we're also going to see small business loans. Both parties are in agreement when it comes to small business loans, and aid to airlines to help cover payroll and prevent tens of thousands of furloughs, in which we're going to be seeing very shortly. The topics of dispute are going to be federal unemployment benefits. The Democrats are vehemently pushing for $600, where Republicans, the most that they'll do, the highest number we've seen so far, is $400 from the GOP. Areas of disagreement are also going to include state and local government funding. What we've seen from the Democrats, they've offered more than $400 billion, higher than the $250 billion proposal from the White House. And the sides have also disagreed over the child tax credit, earned income tax credit, childcare assistance funds, and money for COVID-19 testing and tracing. But with Trump's recent diagnosis, it could make Republicans more keen to want to provide more funding for testing and contact tracing. Now, the Democratic-led House has already left for recess this past Friday for a month. But if Pelosi and Mnuchin can craft an agreement, well, then they could return to vote on legislation. And then another issue at hand is multiple Republican senators have now tested positive for the virus. The full Senate will now not convene until October 19th because 3 GOP senators, after being seen at Amy Coney Barrett's nomination at that event in the Rose Garden, tested positive for COVID-19. And then we have a recent piece of communication from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. He had tweeted Saturday afternoon that he had talked to the president about several topics, including the Supreme Court and, quote, strengthening the economy. He had tweeted, quote, just had another great call with POTUS. He sounds well and says he's feeling good. We talked about the people's business, fighting the pandemic, confirming Judge Barrett, and strengthening the economy for American families. Let's keep our president and first lady in our prayers. The Republican-led Senate Judiciary Committee is still moving ahead with its hearings for the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett on October 12th. At this point, Republicans are putting party above people in that they're raring and rushing to get Coney confirmed, but they are not willing to get that compromise reached with the next stimulus deal. With mounting looming pressure from the president and the public with the election in just 30 days, Republicans might call it a day and finally reach that agreement with Democrats, though, so a deal, or at least a framework of a deal, could be seen this coming week. More updates will be on the way as Trump could potentially be returning back to the White House in just a day or two if his condition is fine and acceptable. So more updates will be coming very shortly. But if you got value out of this update, give it a big thumbs up, smash the like button. And if you want to see more videos on my channel, I do post videos now every single day covering all sorts of topics surrounding business, finance, investing, entrepreneurship, mindset strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. So I also do these stimulus check and stimulus package updates. So if any of these topics appeal to you, click that big red button, the subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell as well. That way you're notified every single time I do make a new one. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.